And we're live.
We are live.
Welcome, everybody. And a warm welcome from the Schmincke factory. We are live. And my name is Marcel. I'm the export manager. And I have the great pleasure to be here with Evan Woodruffe, all the way from New Zealand, our ambassador. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we will be talking about demoing painting with our new PRIMAcryl. However, I would like to start with a brief introduction on the factory, and thereafter we go all the way in the deep dive into PRIMAcryl.
Sure.
So, frankly saying, Schmincke got founded in 1881, so more than 140 years ago, by Mr. Schmincke and his brother-in-law, Mr. Horder, both PhD chemists looking deep into the chemistry of fine art pigments, and met with Cesare Mussini, the Italian professor, and this is how it started. Don't want to bore you with all the details about where everything came from. However, the newest line we have is PRIMAcryl.
Yeah.
Everything ever since made in Germany, and PRIMAcryl has been part of the line since the 60s.
Yeah.
Predominantly in Germany. And as a company's philosophy, we re-evaluate every line every 20 years on see how modern technology and how modern pigments could enhance or improve our paints, and all of that while keeping the strong traditions of a business being 140 years old.
Yeah.
And we have now, over the past 5 years, meticulously researched on how we can improve our acrylic line. And indeed, it has improved. And this is what we're going to see now.
Yeah, sure. It's, I mean, PRIMAcryl has been my choice of color for over 10 years. And while the new PRIMAcryl is improved, which we'll convey shortly in the different ways, most importantly for me as an artist is the buttery feel under my brush remains unchanged. So it's still this really special, highly milled paint, which behaves not like a usual acrylic. I have to say it's almost got the butteriness of an oil paint, and certainly the luminosity and saturation of the color. And these working qualities for me have stayed the same. So if you're working with PRIMAcryl from last year and before, this will perform the same, but there are some significant changes to it, which will future-proof it. Basically, it'll be another 20 years before Schmincke need to look at it again. The biggest change is hidden. It's the new binder. And this is an innovative microplastic-free binder, which is produced sustainably from renewable raw materials, such as old car tires, by Schmincke's close German partners. And I'm sure everyone, like myself, we've all seen piles of old car tires and wondered what's happening with these. I think this has got to be the most positive use of car tires. Okay, which when I first heard this, I thought, okay, well, car tires, dirty black things that line gardens and piles in the car yard. But perhaps we can see some of this to the down camera here, and
Yep.
yeah. So this drawdown card has been coated with the binder And we can see how clear it is. There's no grayness over the black. There's no graying of the white. You can see the reflection there. That's its clarity and its brilliance. Actually, this brilliance is what causes very little shift between wet and dry color with the PRIMAcryl as well. Perhaps we take a quick look at the binder, because you can purchase the binder from Schmincke as a liquid here, and we can see here this is plant-based. This is a plant-based resin, plastic resin, but renewable resource, not from fossil fuels. So this I think is one of the most important things with the reintroduction of PRIMAcryl into the market there.
And as a matter of fact, sustainability is very important for us, not only in the product as given, but also here in the factory. So the entire factory is covered by solar panels. So on a good sunny day like today, we can get up to 60% of our energy consumption just straight from the solar panels, which we're now happy to also transform into paint.
This reduces the carbon footprint down a lot, huh?
About 75% less CO2 emissions with that.
Yeah, fantastic. It's not just the binder that is recycled. The containers here, you can see that this is a beautiful white, crisp, clean, modern design. The bottles here are also made from recycled plastic. And not to bore you, but let's take a bit of a deep dive down into this label. There's a lot of information on the label that maybe gets glossed over when you're looking at this on a shelf. PRIMAcryl Professional. So professional color, as a professional artist, I'm looking for color that performs above my expectation. We all need help making an artwork, and perhaps good materials are the easiest way to get good results. Sometimes not so easy. Let's see if we can get that in focus. There we go. So,
yeah,
in focus. We have here the light fastness ratings, 5 stars. All of the colors are 4 to 5 stars light fast rating, which means our paintings are going to last for a very long time with PRIMAcryl. This here is a fluid color. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. The color stripe on here, this is a scan from an actual drawdown of the color. So it is a printed color, but it is very, very accurate. And you can see it going over both the black and the white to give you an idea of opacity or transparency. But most importantly, the little square here. So can you find me a transparent one there, please, Mr. PA?
Oh, yeah.
The square, which was developed by Schmincke, but which is now used worldwide by many brands. If the square is solid, like this, it is
semi-transparent, all right?
Yeah, semi-transparent is fantastic. Thank you, Marcel.
Oh.
If the square is solid, the color will cover. This is an easy way to see it. If the square, for instance, on the tube here, you again see the same symbol, is semi-covered, then it is semi-opaque, so semi-covering. We're getting down towards the transparency here. The square here has just a one line through it. It's a semi-transparent. And you want to pass me that magenta over there?
Oh, yeah.
Look at this. So this very, to go into focus, there we go. We can see the square there, which is open. So this means light will fall through the paint. These are our glazing colors, completely translucent. They give us our greatest depth and deepness to the color. Come color names in several languages. Go back to the pot here. Get that into focus. Another important factor is on the side here, which is the pigmentation. So it gives the International Color Index for the color there. Now, that's our deep dive down into this, but the pigments, obviously, are where we're really getting excited about the color. And the pigments too, I believe, are microplastic free.
Yeah, because some pigments, especially the fluorescent or neon pigments, can be covered by a plastic shield. So we've worked together with our pigment suppliers and can ensure that all the 90 colors there are microplastic free with the binder, but also from pigment side.
Fantastic. And I believe 90 colors now in the heavy body, right?
In the heavy body, 90 colors, and fluid are 48.
So everyone knows what a heavy body paint is. You know, it's a thick paint that comes in a tube that that gives good brush strokes. It's very solid structurally. The fluids, I think we will talk about those a little bit more shortly, but let's use some heavy body first.
But may I ask, which color are you using?
Well, this is interesting. This color here, well, this is first predominantly white, right? So so this is a pink that I've mixed using the PRIMAcryl titanium white. Now everyone's familiar with titanium white. Since the 1920s, this color has been developed, and now it is 80% of the world's pigment production. That's why we have white walls and white lighting cases, and you know, we live in a time of brightness, right? Before I get to the other color that I'm using here, this is the titanium white. Everyone has titanium white. Unless you have PRIMAcryl, you don't have a titanium white like this. This titanium white is the most opaque, strongest tinting strength titanium white that I have ever used. So tinting strength, this is where the amount of color mixed into another one, it affects how it affects the outcome. And I can take a strong color like this red, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and mix it in. What's that? One part to this, and the titanium white will reduce the shade considerably. This also means that the titanium white will cover. So let's just mix up some pink here. This is special pink. This not quite such a Barbie pink, I think. A little more complex than that. Not to say that Barbie wasn't a complex character. So let's just mix that one up. Apologies to Disney or whoever it is. And let's look at this one. Yeah, let's look at these. Whoops, there's a bit of pink in there. Kind of hectic. Let's get some more of that out.
Need another brush?
No. Let's use a larger brush here. It pays to always wet your brush before hitting the color. So that's what we're doing here. I'm picking up the titanium white. You can see probably these lovely brush strokes. Let's see if we can get some focus happening there. Lovely fat brush lines. This very smooth but buttery, heavy body paint, and this covers exceptionally well. So when you're wanting white to basically obliterate what's underneath, then this titanium white is fantastic. You know, it just really covers up. But most of us are mixing with it. So here I'm mixing opaque colors with this special pink, which, well, maybe I should talk a little bit about the whites, because what I also love about the new PRIMAcryl is the new white. So titanium white, very, very opaque. It tends to make these pastel shades, and it's a very useful color, but it can be a little unsubtle sometimes, especially with our transparent colors. Because it's opaque, any transparent colors that you mix with it are going to be turned opaque, so no good for glazing, and pastelized unless a second color is added to stop this. We were talking about the new developments in not just the binder, but for pigments.
Yep.
Here we have one called zircon mixing white. Now, zircon, I believe, is a very new pigment, right?
First pigment to be an artist color.
Right. Fantastic. This titanium white we've had 100 years. Zircon we've had 1 month.
Indeed.
And this is a semi-transparent, as indicated by the box, but also the stripe across the black there. This complements the other transparent white here with this semi-opaque zinc white for mixing, but it gives an important difference, and we can see this once we start to look at how it mixes down with other shades. Zinc white gives us these the cooler shades. So mixing it with a transparent here with the Indian yellow, which is a fantastic glazing color, we've reduced down the chroma of the color, and it's given it a slightly cooler shade of the color. Here with the zircon is more of a warm white, and we have increased the transparency and reduced the chroma of the color, but we've kept the kind of warmth there. This is very obvious on the red. So here with the quinacridone magenta, the zinc white has really given an addition of a blue tone, whereas the zircon has given a warmer tone, or kept a warmer tone to it. You can see quite a dramatic difference here on the blues, because zinc being cool is lending itself more to the blue tone here. The zircon being a warmer white has actually kind of just muted the blue really nicely. You can imagine this for skies and colors like that. There are many ways of changing the tone of a color. These here, which is mixed with this lovely new manganese violet, we see the zinc with its cooler tone. We see the zircon with a warmer tone. This is another new one, I believe, the buff titanium.
Yep.
Which a lot of people like to mix with because it doesn't really, it doesn't lighten so much as soften the colors. So this here, very opaque color. So if you're mixing that with a transparent, you will make it more opaque, but it's a lovely color for softening, naturally softening, rather than the bright white reductions that you get with the zinc, zircon, and certainly with the titanium white. But well, actually, here we go. This is, if you're interested in trying, there is an introductory set which contains the 3 whites, the zinc, the titanium, and the new zircon mixing white. That's them there. Nice little set. No, white is not just white. White
Mm,
white
the
is
opposite.
is the addition of light. So
Yeah.
when you mix two colors together, we're getting darker colors every time we mix a color with another color. White is the addition of light, so it introduces white light back into that darkened mixture and lifts the color again. Black, we have here blacks, and these are two new blacks with a renamed original black. So
Mhm.
the Atrament black is now a Perylene black green. It's a beautiful licorice kind of transparent black. Mars black is one of the new warmer blacks, fantastic for tinting. And the carbon black here is super intense, super opaque black. You can see this here, carbon black with a fully opaque signature there. If you're using black for mixing, and whereas the addition of white is the addition of light, we can also say the addition of black is the negation of light, so it darkens things. Here we have these beautiful green tones here, which is mixing a small amount of the Mars black into a yellow. The Mars black is a low tinting strength black, so we can use it for mixing very accurately. Here, an even smaller proportion of the carbon black has been introduced to the yellow, and immediate change. You know, it's almost too strong to use as a mixture, but wow, the depth of the black. You know, this is something that I know a lot of monochrome painters have been after. So there's a 3 set there, and the other introductory set that you've brought in to share PRIMAcryl with the world is the 3 new color set.
Indeed.
We're going to have a look at 2 of these here. The May green, the new Pyrrole red, but this is interesting. This is a cadmium alternative, and for every genuine cadmium, there is a cadmium alternative. Now, a hue. They call it hue.
Hue.
I think in German you call it a tone, right?
A tone, yeah.
So a hue, when you see the word hue, a hue is a color group, right? So it's a group of colors. So when we see the word cadmium, cadmium red hue, it's not a cadmium red. It's in the color group of that sort of tone. For me as a professional artist, the genuine cadmiums are always going to remain very, very precious, useful colors. They are very, very solid. They're very opaque and good for body color. They're fantastic to glaze over the top of. They don't mix so well because their density tends to overwhelm and you get slightly dirty colors. But these are very important colors for me. What about the alternatives? Well,
if I may interrupt
yes,
there,
please.
We just got a quite interesting question here from the crowd and saying, what's the best way to keep acrylic color moist for longer?
Well,
thank you, Julia.
Well, you probably have a retarder that you can mix in with the paint.
Yep.
To tell the truth, and you know, I'm here as an artist, not a salesperson. I unless I really want to change the nature of my paint, I don't like to mix anything in with it. I use a little atomizer. So the acrylic paint dries by evaporation, and here in the studio with the lights, they're drying very, very quickly. And a little atomizer, I can just mist the water over the top, and it reintroduces some moisture into the paint film.
So just adding water?
Yeah, just adding water, but a very fine spray. And the good thing about commercial atomizers, or even if you run out of a very fine misting bottle for cosmetics, rather than the garden spray, is that you need fine drops. You don't want big drops to come out here. You just want a fine mist of color.
And what's then the difference to a retarder?
Well, a retarder, you do have to add a certain amount in, and it will double the drying time. But it's most artists are lazy. I'm a little lazy, you know. Anything that's a bit faster for me, and just a spray over the top when I find things are getting a bit dry is fine. I don't really want to have to get my paints out and mix retarders with them, and we all want to get on with the painting quickly, sure. Right? So yes, very good. And actually, if you're wanting to dry your paints, this is an excellent question. But if you're wanting to dry your paints quickly, if you're using a hairdryer, it's not on a hot setting. The fastest way to dry paint, acrylic paint, is with the flow of air across the surface. So a cool setting on the hairdryer. If it's too hot, the plastic content of the paint won't like that so much. So a breeze is enough to dry it. If you are using a hot gun, if you want very, very quick drying, dry from the back of the canvas, right? So turn it over, dry from the back of the canvas, and that will force any moisture in the substrate back out this way. If you're drying from the front, sometimes you're driving moisture back down into the substrate. Other questions have we got there on that?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's a good one. So this pink here, this is one of the cadmium hues. This is cadmium red hue. Now, the reason I'm loving this new color, this is one of my favorite ones. Actually, here we go. This here is good, but we've got maybe more versatility here, or more variety here rather, where we have various tints of the cadmium red hue. Cadmium red deep, red deep hue with the titanium white. Cadmium red deep, when we mix it with white, it goes a bit dull. It goes a bit, maybe a bit brick-like. It loses its chroma because the cadmium metals are very dense. What I love about these new hues is not that it's an alternative for me as a painter to cadmium, but this could be the choice of many artists, but is that they give me different colors which are going to perform differently. And when I mix this cadmium red deep hue with white, I get this really nice bright pink here. It's not overly bright. It's not a too pastel. It's really complex red, but certainly a lot more life than this. And so this is my new favorite pink. You know, I love some of the other reds to mix pinks from, but this new cadmium red deep hue. There you go. You can copy my pinks if you're looking for a good pink alternative. Is fantastic. So I think it's important that we have an alternative to cadmium, but it's not an either or. We all want more colors. I want both. You know.
But you mentioned a favorite color.
So here we go. I'll just quickly here. These are the hues down the side. This is the genuine cadmiums down the other side. Pretty close. So using them in full strength, we have not much discernible difference between those two. But when you start mixing, especially tinting them, that's when they change. Favorite colors.
You mentioned a favorite pink, which you mixed.
Well, I'm mixing the favorite pink.
What's your favorite color straight out of the tube?
Well, every artist is going to be rolling their eyes now, right? Because favorite color. There's 90 colors in the heavy body in the PRIMAcryl.
Yep.
Correct. I have 90 favorite colors.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But
if you have to pick one, just one.
Well, one right now, because I can choose another one in a minute, huh?
Yeah.
One right now, I would have to say, when there's a a new range out, we want to experiment with new colors.
Indeed.
And this one here, so this one is May Green. Here's a pro tip: always squeeze your tube from the bottom. People who squeeze their toothpaste from the top, pet peeve. Hello, darling. From the bottom, we're going to get every little bit out of that. The metal tubes are fantastic. They don't hold any air, and you can fold them up and get every little bit out of them. But this new May Green is really a bright, luscious, almost fluorescent green. Let's get that up maybe a little closer to the. Look at this. You know, this undertone of yellow on it is really quite brilliant. It's semi-opaque, but you'll find with the mid-tone and the light tone colors, the opacity is not exactly the same as for the darker colors, because darker covers better over a varied tonal range. So if you try and paint a very opaque yellow, like a cadmium yellow, over a dark surface, that dark surface is different enough to affect the opacity. You might need, with yellows, I find all yellows, I need at least maybe three layers. But this May Green, this is also important with that opacity and transparency. You know, I've had people ask questions like, why is my alizarin crimson not covering? I've put so many layers on, and it's transparent. So whatever is underneath will show through. This is called a glaze. So sometimes, and this is something that Schmincke have always done very, very well. I think we should talk a little bit about the color booklet. You know, these aren't color charts. These are books. How many pages in this one? Maybe 16 pages.
Yep.
And lots of really good color information, opacity, pigmentation, light fastness. Though with the new PRIMAcryl, it's all 4 to 5 stars, so no worry there. And information on the historical advent for colors, and it's just, if you're a paint nerd, it's a good read.
Yeah, you know? I mean, not in religious terms, but you could say it's a Bible.
Yeah, sure. It's the first information that people should read. If you're interested in paints, and you know, I trust my paints, because I can have a material understanding of them, which helps to guide my choices. So my choice for painting this May Green on here, partly intuitive. I just really love this color, but also semi-opaque. So I should be able to cover over this beautiful aero color background. But you know, this is the first time I've painted this color over here, so I'm not really sure. And this is the magic of color. Until you actually put a color down on a surface, what's it going to do? You don't know what it's going to do. It's until you put it down. Sometimes you have to take the leap, right? So this May Green, is it my favorite? I think it's the one that intrigues me. One of the ones that intrigues me the most. And I have used it on a couple of paintings. There is a color that intrigues me more than this in the new range. Which is this here, this manganese violet. Let's see if we can get the focus happening on that. Yeah, there we go. So this is a pigment that is used in some of your colors. I think this is used in the new Mussini, one of the new Mussini colors.
Mostly in heavy body colors.
Yeah.
Bodied colors.
Pigment violet, number 16. It's a color I haven't used yet because I'm still trying to sort of puzzle it out. You can see it here, and then in a reduction there. It's almost got a granulation to it. It's a mineral color, which is
We're speaking about acrylics.
exactly, almost. I said almost.
Yeah.
A granulation to it. You can see it there. It's a very rich, what in ancient times would have been called a Tyrian or a royal violet there. You know, the 17 new colors, this takes a while for an artist to digest. So, you know, I did get most of these colors already, but some of them I just have to sit and kind of wait for a while till I can use them, you know, to try and work out how I can use them. But you ask favorite colors. With the revamp of a paint range, I'm sometimes a little cautious that my favorite old colors still exist, and I have to really make a song and dance about this color. This is from the old range. This is medieval yellow. This is the brightest yellow that was available in the European medieval period. It's opaque, and it's a soft vanilla color. It's
delicious.
It's delicious. It's like a custard dessert, but one of those really nice German custards. So medieval yellow. This is one that I use not just for using by itself, but if you want a really good mixing tip, phthalo turquoise lightened with this rather than white, and you get some beautiful blue tones, greeny blue tones. The 90 favorite colors. That phthalo turquoise, that's another favorite of mine.
But speaking about deliciously, I mean, there are no animal-based ingredients in all of the 90 colors, except for the ivory black, which is loved by artists, which we consider a very essential color in the range. But all the others, you could even say it's vegan.
No animal products in any apart from the ivory black. This is more and more important for some people in some cultures. And I mean, this is something that Schmincke listens to, right? Listen to your customers and see what people are wanting in that. Look at that. It's a beautiful color there. You can see nice and bright, but it's not white. And it's a yellow, but it's not a sunshine yellow. This is beautiful, subtle medieval yellow. So there are some colors in the range which well, most have stayed, right? There's and I am very glad that is still there.
Julia is asking again, the carbon black, very interesting. But what's precisely the difference again to existing?
Yeah.
Shall we look into that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Whereas Elena says that the manganese violet gives also some good browns.
Ah, okay. So browns, you have to pull it to the part of the color wheel where the orange is darkened. So this would be interesting. Well, some people say that we have primary colors, red, yellow, blue, and that we mix these in two color mixtures to get our secondary colors, which yellow with the orange, yellow with the red gives us orange, the red with the blue gives us violet, the blue with the yellow gives us green. But the tertiary colors are very interesting. The earliest reference to tertiary colors I have found was from the 19th century, from the British British Guild of Interior Painters. A secondary color happens when you mix two primaries, and they say a tertiary color happens when you mix two secondaries. So violet plus green, and this gives you what they called olive.
Ah.
Violet plus orange gives you what they called russet, so like a dead pine needle kind of warm one. So I wonder if this is how she's achieving her browns from this, with an orange, especially maybe the transparent orange. And then of course the orange and the green together give you citrine. So this is probably the easiest way to demonstrate a the black is to go back to the yellow. Yellow being the lightest color is affected by the color the quickest, and let's put out some of the carbon black.
That's the cadmium yellow light.
So this should be pretty strong. Cadmium yellow light, fully opaque, concentrated cadmium pigments. Would you be kind enough to get me a Mars black from the shelf, please?
Oh yeah. Where do we have it?
So
Mars black.
Mars
Here we
black.
go.
There we go.
Like in a candy shop, huh?
Yes. This place is spoiling me. Right, so we have two different blacks here. We have the Mars black. Now remember, I told you the Mars black is a relatively low tinting strength, and I can pick up just a little bit on the edge of my brush of the Mars black, and I'll introduce it into the yellow, and straight away we're getting some really strong greens. Yellow, you put anything with yellow, you're going to change it from yellow to something else. But some beautiful gold greens just with black and yellow. We can go quite subtle here with less black, more yellow. Okay, so the Mars black is great for mixing with, because even if I put quite a lot of black into the yellow, it's still giving me a reasonable green. It's not black yet, you know. It's this nice olivey. When I say olive, this is more of a Sicilian olive than a Kalamata olive, which we would get from a green and a violet. Indeed. Okay, so Mars black, carbon black. So I'll get that small amount of black that I picked up, roughly the same as previous with the Mars black, the ivory black. And immediately I'm kind of getting a green black. You know? So you can use it as a mixer, but it's so strong, it's taking over the yellow here into quite a dark. It's taking the yellow into a dark place, Marcel. So let's put a bit more in there. Yeah. This is good, but I have a friend back in New Zealand, and they paint with black and with white. Fantastic, eye-boggling geometric shapes, and they were like, I love the PRIMAcryl black. This is what I use. Please tell me that they're not getting rid of the black. And of course, no, but this is what she's after. This is the straight carbon black, super solid, quite neutral in its blackness. We can put some white with that, but solid, really solid, high tinting strength, high covering black. For black areas, if you want that, you know, I always tend to mix my blacks, but for artists who are working in who are working in a monotone, or perhaps you're wanting to do a grisaille or something like that. This is very solid. In actual fact, can we see that focus? Yep, that's pretty good. So on this side we have the Mars black. On this side we have the carbon black. You can probably see it's a little bit brownish. It's just, this one is the void, right? Not Yves Klein's void, but the abyss. Mixing it with white here. Again, it's a very strong tinting strength color, so too much black in there already. You know, we need to if we want to start from some light grays, we need to be very judicious with how much of that carbon black is going in there. But it's quite a nice neutral. It's maybe a little bluey, but a little on the cool side, but not so much as other blacks. So, you know, if you want to be Manet, then then that's the black, or maybe a good German expressionist black, carbon black. Now, I think also what needs to be explained, I mean, we could play with the colors all day. This would be fantastic. But what do we have here?
Fluid.
Fluid
Maybe let's
colors.
look into the difference between a heavy body and a fluid, because
Yep.
you have the same pigments, which you could use both in a heavy body and fluid. So where would you, from an cobalt teal, good choice, but where would you use fluid over heavy body?
This is a very good question. Now, maybe we get some of the same color. Can you give me a tube of the?
Of course.
I need this in my studio. I need a rack of paint with someone to fetch it for me. So we have here the cobalt teal, which is very opaque, 5 stars. Heavy body here on the label. Here fluid. Heavy body is what we think of as paint, right? It's a structured paint that perhaps that one might be a little bit.
Shall I clean it for you?
No, here we are. That we think of as paint. So it's something that is a pasty, smooth, still but pasty, buttery, retains brush marks. Is because it's thicker. We can cover very well by increasing the film thickness on our paint. But yeah, just smooth, buttery, what we think of as paint. But fluids are quite the opposite of this. Fluids are not dilutions of the heavy body paint. They are concentrated color. In fact, fluid colors are more of the original consistency of an acrylic. Now, any of you who have watched the promotional marketing from the Schmincke marketing department with the PRIMAcryl, what have you seen? You've seen this stuff being just poured over the top of it. So yes, this is the consistency. It's got a beautiful, creamy consistency. Right. So it's got no resistance to or very little resistance to my brush here. Whereas the pasty paint is good for these solid areas. Fluid paint is fantastic for large areas because there is no structure to kind of fight against. Here we can spread the paint very, very easily over large areas. Also, if you're wanting to get more watercolory kind of effects, instead of having to dilute down the structured paint till it is a more aqueous or kind of watercolory consistency, the fluid is already almost at this consistency, so we can thin it down and still get very, very, very strong chroma, right? I'm not thinning down the color concentration. I'm also not having to thin down the adhesive qualities of it too much. This is important. A rule of thumb for thinning with water depends on the surface. On this beautiful acrylic painting paper from Hahnemüller, we have some absorption, so you can thin with a lot of water. If we're working on a canvas, especially on top of acrylic paint, probably don't want to go past 1-to-1 with water for the adhesive quality. After then, you would be able to start using in your water something like this acrylic binder.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how much acrylic binder do you think you'd put in the water?
Well, it's like the tinsel on a Christmas tree.
Perfect.
Some like it.
Some like it more.
Some less.
Some less.
It depends.
But some addition into your paint is necessary. The other thing that the fluids are very, very good for, that perhaps the heavy body are not so good for, is detail, because it's fluid. I've got very little structure, so I can be very detailed with this. Maybe a bit far away, but I can be very very detailed with the fluid, because it's fluid. So like water, it's just kind of flowing out of my brush. Whereas the thicker paint, I'm having to work against that structure, so it's going to be much harder to get detail. So the fluid is the best consistency for a large area of paint, but conversely, it's also the best for very fine areas of paint. So, you know, the fluid is extremely versatile, and you know, you have gels if you're wanting to make the fluid color into a solid color like the tube color. You can just mix it with one of the gels to give it more structure. And one of the things about buying a professional color like this is this intense concentration of pigment, where you could mix this down in a medium a long way and still keep a lot of color strength.
Good.
Yeah.
Sehr gut. You need a palette knife?
Yeah, sure. Anyone who hasn't seen a block, these are nice glued on all four sides for a bit of stability. And just slice that off.
So just to mention, if there are more questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, or even afterwards. That's fine. You can reach out to us or your nearest stockist for more information on both the heavy body as well as the fluid. Available from now on. And yeah.
It's for me as a long time PRIMAcryl user, this does two things. It keeps me very happy that it is the same lovely buttery consistency and high concentration of pigment, but as an artist that has used it for a long time, I'm extremely happy to see that there are 17 new colors to select from. And now also, of course, addresses the use of plastic through its innovative new German binder.
Indeed. And well, everything what comes from Schmincke is 100% made in Germany, and that's what we did for the last 140 years, and what we continue this way. Trying to be innovative while still keeping the traditions in the fine art.
You know what?
Tell me.
They don't have to take our word for it.
Because We even got awarded with the Artist Product of the Year by the Creative World in Frankfurt over the last weekend. And we take that. We're very proud to have this award, and keeps us striving for the best, for the better. As in the owl, our symbol, it's attached to it is Meliora Cogito, a Latin saying translated into proper English. It's I strive for the better.
I strive for the better, yeah.
And yeah, so it keeps us the motivation day to day to make to get the best possible combination of pigments while sourcing them. And yeah,
I mean, this wasn't the only award you got there. I see another award over by the Horodam
for the naturals. So even a second place. So we were quite happy with these awards. And so sustainability, not only in the product, but also in our factory as a chemical production. So and the final question: what are the brushes you're using, Evan?
Well, this is a company that I will be visiting at the end of the week to shoot some fantastic social media for Da Vinci Künstler Pinselfabrik. How's my German?
Yeah, not too bad.
Finest artist brushes. Da Vinci made in Nuremberg, just down the road here, just down the rail. And yeah, they're all made in Germany. Very innovative fibers. This is actually one of the first ones I came across back in the 90s. But they have also, which I was going to use for the fluids, the new Coloneo synthetic sable. So these are all vegan alternatives to sable, to squirrel, to various natural hairs.
So would you say that this is your favorite brush for your acrylic painting?
I tend to use a mixture. There's a rule of thumb for brushes and paint. The stiffer the paint, the stiffer the brush. The softer the paint, the softer the brush. The Nova here is reasonably soft, but this paint is so smooth and buttery that in actual fact the Nova is coping with it reasonably well. And the softness of it allows me to layer up a little bit thicker. And this shape is my most popular, the Filbert, because I can cut into very small areas with it as well. Yeah, good question.
Very good. Well,
you've sent plenty of samples out into the world, haven't you?
Indeed. And so just leads me to say thank you, Evan, for joining us here on screen, live, and showing us or diving together with us into the new PRIMAcryl. And I now just leads me to say thank you and enjoy painting with our new PRIMAcryls.
Thanks, Marcel.
Thank
it's
you,
a
Evan.
pleasure being here every time.
Thank you. You're always welcome.